sir.
Ma'am.
Principal. Yes, sir. I'm able to hear you. Our principal is waiting in the lobby. Can you just?
Before that, actually, introductory talk about Dominic Q, whether we have to give or he will be speaking, ma'am. Because what?
Manimekle can give the introduction.
Yes, ma'am. But so okay. Ma'am, shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sir, hello, principal, sir.
And Anthony Wong also joined, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, you. Yo.
Good morning to one and all.
Sir, shall we start, sir? Ma'am, start panla, ma'am.
Sir, principal, sir, can we start, sir?
Yes, we can.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all on behalf of our SSN College of Engineering, CSC department. I would like to welcome you all for this 2 days international conference on security and data privacy. Let us have the pleasure of listening to the welcome address by our Dr. J. Suresh, Associate Professor, CSC Department, SSN College of Engineering. Welcome you, sir.
Morning to one and all. I'm extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity to address you on this inaugural session of International Conference on Security and Data Privacy supported by Springer IFIP series. I welcome Dr. V. Annamalai, Principal, Assistant College of Engineering, and Dr. T.T. Mrinalini, ma'am, Professor and Head, Department of CSE, and my department colleagues. I feel honored to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Anthony Wong from Australia, and Omar Sengrochny from Morocco, and Dominic. He is Anthony Wong is the president of International Federation of Information Processing, established under the auspices of UNESCO in 1960. He is a key industry thought leader, regular commentator, and speaker at various national and international forums, including Sky News, ABC, and the Australian, and UN forums, including Internet Governance Forum, IGF, and the World Summit on Information Security, WSIS. He is also a director of AGW Legal and Advisory, a multidisciplinary legal and advisory practice, advising in many areas of law and technology, addressing descriptive risk and issues arising from different technologies, which includes IoT, big data, and AI. As a keynote speaker, he will be delivering a talk on the topic balancing interest in privacy, data protection, and data use for AI, deep, and machine learning. Mr. Omar Sengrochny is the president of National Commission for the Protection of Personal Data in Morocco. He will be giving a talk about the protection of personal data and AI. We welcome you both, sir. And also, I welcome the participants for taking a keen part in this conference. I am sure that you all will feel enriched with the knowledge after the completion of this conference. Once again, I welcome you all to this conference and hope you will have a great time ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, let us have the pleasure of listening to the address by our principal, Dr. V. Annamalai, sir. I welcome you, sir.
Sir?
Sorry, who are we waiting for? Is that
Sir,
me?
Annamalai, sir? Ma'am, principal.
Okay, he's not here.
Ma'am, principal is most probably his line is cut, I think, ma'am.
Sure. Okay, let me continue and then I think sir will be joining.
Ma'am, I will call the office, ma'am.
No. Sir is joining. Just
I will call.
Accept, no, accept, sir. Annamalai
Yes,
sir
yes,
is
yes,
in live.
yes, join. Sir, ma'am, sir.
Sir, let us have the pleasure of listening to the address by our principal, Dr. V. Annamalai sir. Welcome you, sir.
Am I audible?
Oh, yes, sir.
You are audible, sir.
Okay, sorry, there was some connectivity issue.
No issues.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
I'm happy to note that the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of SSN is organizing the International Conference on Security and Data Privacy today and tomorrow. SSN is ranked 48th among all technical institutions in the country by National Institutional Ranking Framework. Such a position has been possible only by the philanthropic vision of our founder, Dr. Shivnadar, ably followed by the relentless pursuits of our faculty and the achievements of our meritorious students. We do have a strong research culture. There are several schemes to foster research culture among students. One such scheme is called STIRS. It's an acronym for Stimulus for Technological Innovation and Research among Students. Under this scheme, right from the first semester, student teams are encouraged to put up research proposals. These proposals are scrutinized by experts from outside, and then the student teams are funded. Approximately every year, 150 teams win around 40 lakhs, which is about 4 million USD. And this automatically brings a lot of quality publications from students. Such outcomes help the students in their career. Similarly, by another scheme called seed funding for faculty, about 3 to 5 lakhs of rupees is given to faculty for their research proposal. Approximately every year, around 1 crore rupees, which is about 10 million USD, is sanctioned for students and faculty for their research. I think it is because of this kind of an investment by the management that we have been fortunate enough to get the acceptance of researchers worldwide for such collaborations. The theme of the conference, security and data privacy, is very apt considering the unusual situation that all of us have gone through. Society as a whole has undergone a massive transformation after the lockdown and social distancing. All practices have changed, enabled by the technologies that support remote access, work from home, and networking. Sharing of data and analysis of a large volume of data has become the order of the day. The ability to safeguard the data becomes very important. Wherever there is data, there is the risk of being hacked. So cybersecurity also becomes technology to be understood and nurtured. So it is relevant that we all meet and take steps of development in data sciences to meet the future needs of the society. Many internationally renowned researchers like Mr. Omar Segrochny, President NSC PPD from Morocco, Mr. Navanithan, Senior Vice President Grove, Bangalore, Dr. Jagdish Chundri, Senior Technical Leader, Cisco Systems, Bangalore, and Dr. Islam Amer, Messer, International University, Egypt, are all lined up to share their views. I congratulate the organizing team and the Department of CSE for putting up such a good gathering. I wish all the participants a great learning and a successful virtual networking. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Principal, sir. Now, let us have the pleasure to invite Dr. A. Chamundeshwari, ma'am, Professor, CSE Department, to deliver the address about the conference. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you all what are all gathered here for the conference. It gives me pleasure to share a lot of information in organizing this conference. We started working on this conference 16 months before, and I was talking to Unica ma'am. Ulrich sir was first to I talked about related to this particular conference. I shared him my wish, and we had a lot of meeting for organizing this conference. And later on, Ulrich sir connected me with Unica madam, and from Unica madam to Dominic Yu. And thereby we formed a team in IFIP TC12 Working Group 13. So for AI for global security. So it was a pleasure that we have in this particular team 18 members. So from around countries, Germany, South Africa, France, Spain, Ireland, Malaysia, Egypt, Australia. So with all these countries, we were able to form a committee so that to improve the growth of AI for global security. And this is the first event we are organizing in this IFIP TC12 Work Group 13. So hope that in the future, many more events will be organized in collaboration with all the different member committee who are involved here. And I have to express my thanks to Principal Sir and my department HOD for giving me an opportunity to organize this conference in SSN College of Engineering. And I have to share my thanks for all the speakers who are here, Dr. Anthony and Dominic Sir and Dr. Omer Sir and Dr. Woolridge. So I have to thank everyone for joining this and making this a good event. And also we have advisory committee who are all the members, and we had a lot of meeting with the advisory members also, to name with Sanjay Mishra sir from Oxford University in Norway, and Shardat Zaghari from Sheffield University, UK, and Amar Mohammed from Cairo University, Egypt, and Dr. Dinakaran Perumal from University of Putra, Malaysia, and of course, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Nayak from IIIT DM. So we have a great committee. Along with that, we are working for this conference to make it a grand success. I thank you for giving the opportunity, and also I thank my teammates, organizing team in SSN College, Dr. Suresh sir, and Dr. Saraswati ma'am and Balasubramaniam sir for joining hands for organizing this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to welcome Dominic sir. Sir is the chair of the IFIP Working Group AA for Global Security in Technical Committee to learn Artificial Intelligence. Now, sir will give the introduction about the keynote speaker. I welcome you, Dominic sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you don't mind, I would like to begin my speech with a video, which is the IFIP introductory video. So I'm now trying to share my screen so that you can all see this short 3 minutes video about IFIP.
IFIP is the global federation of ICT professional societies and associations committed to advancing professional and socially responsible applications of technology. Our members are ICT professionals, researchers, academics, teachers, and policymakers who are focused on developing and sharing ICT knowledge and expertise, promoting global digital equity, educating and enhancing public understanding about technology and its potential, and increasing professionalism and professional standards.
IFIP runs over 100 events each year to bring together international experts on different ICT-related topics, to share the latest developments, explore possibilities, and discuss issues of relevance to the ICT profession. We're a strong advocate for digital equity and work closely with other global bodies like UNESCO and ITU to promote understanding of the issues relating to technology and to collaborate on solutions to help us achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
The biennial IFIP World Computer Congress brings together thought leaders from across the globe to share their knowledge and expertise and to discuss emerging technology issues. While our World IT Forum event, or WIT4, is specifically focused on identifying ways to enhance access to technology for developing nations to enable them and their citizens to play an active role in the global digital economy.
Our International Professional Practice Partnership, known as IP3, is the leading group driving professional standards for technologists around the world. And it was responsible for having the importance of professionalism as a key enabler of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals recognized and discussed at the United Nations. IFIP also seeks to raise awareness and understanding amongst the wider community about where technology is going, how it can enhance the quality of our lives, and how to ensure that all peoples have equal access and opportunity. We are uniquely positioned to achieve these outcomes through our global network of technical committees and working groups that bring together experts in different fields to share and enhance their knowledge and to focus attention on key issues relating to technology.
Our members have access to the biggest network of technical experts in the world, enabling them to form valuable connections, grow their knowledge and skills, and contribute to the development of new insights and global standards for ICT professionals.
So there it is. I don't know if you got the picture, but at least we had the sound. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dominique Verdejo. I chair the IFIP working group AI for Global Security, which is part of the Technical Committee 12 on Artificial Intelligence. ICSDP is the first of a series of events dedicated to various facets of global security. We address these key topics with artificial intelligence approaches and techniques. AI is recognized as the most powerful algorithmic technique known today to help machines support human operations in automation processes and complex cognitive tasks. It is straightforward to think of AI in order to protect people and assets, as security is a priority requirement to any activity. If we apply a risk analysis, we'll find that the most valued assets, the essential assets, can be classified in three categories: physical goods and money assets, data, processes. Protecting these essential goods requires deploying physical protection and data protection, which in turn requires setting up an additional layer of information systems dedicated to cybersecurity. One may think of firewalls and antiviruses, XDR, EDR, SIEM, SOC as examples of such security layer components. From another physical standpoint, sensors of all sorts can be deployed and their outputs monitored, analyzed, fused in control centers. This is the case, for instance, for video surveillance. From a logical standpoint, data can be classified and data can be accessed and supervised. Leaks can be prevented. So as you can see in all these three domains, a risk-based security management induces the creation of organizational and technical measures to mitigate risks and ensure security. In all these three domains, monitoring, correlating, pattern matching, and decision-making are required to process information and react to unexpected new threats. As digital transformation is rolling out, information processing is invading all human activity, providing lots of actionable data that can be used to fuel the AI algorithms. But computerization also carries its downside, offering a new domain of vulnerability to potential adversaries and requiring cybersecurity to be thought of and deployed. That also provides a new opportunity, the advent of a new global security era, where data security, systems security, and physical security will not reside anymore in distinct siloed systems, but will rather exchange and strengthen mutually to provide optimal protection to the whole system. Today, we have the pleasure to welcome as keynote speakers Anthony Wong, President of IFIP. Dr. Wong is also the president of a multidisciplinary legal and advisory practice, advising in many areas of technology and law, including IP, contracts, licensing, and the emergent and disruptive risks and issues arising from technologies like the Internet of Things, big data, artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented reality, cloud, and blockchain. President Wong will present the need for a trade-off between business stakes, human rights, and new technology services deployment. Right after, we will also welcome Mr. Omar Segrouchni, President of the Moroccan National Commission of Data Protection. Mr. Segrouchni has long advised about data protection in the context of digital transformation, governance and management, enterprise architecture and privacy by design, SOA expertise and agile methodologies, information systems, data protection, of course, and smart cities. Dr. Segrouchni will emphasize the challenges in using AI for data protection. So I will now leave the floor to President Wong.
Thank you, Dominic, for that introduction. And thank you, Chaman Daswari, for the invitation to address your conference today. And also thank you to your college, SSN College of Engineering in India, and the working group for IFIP 12.13. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the privilege. I'm calling in from Sydney, Australia. It's a beautiful day, and today is my second presentation. I just presented to the Australian Asian Data Conference in Western Sydney University. So I'm very pleased to do a short presentation today. Dominic, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, thank you. So what I'd like to do today in this keynote is to look at data and the rights of data, particularly
Dr. Anthony, please, can you put it in the view mode, presentation mode? It's not in the presentation.
Presentation mode?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chaman Dasari. So what I'd like to do today is to cover a number of aspects on data, AI, and security, and all the issues that do with policy around this area. Before I do that, Dominic, thank you for presenting the video for IFIP. Just a quick introduction to IFIP for those of you who have not come across IFIP before. IFIP was created under the auspices of UNESCO in 1960. We have our headquarters in Austria, although I'm based in Sydney. So if you look at the mission of IFIP, it's about worldwide professionalism and social responsible development and application of ICT. So that's an important mission today with all the issues for AI, emerging technology, ethics, and regulation. We have members across 5 continents, from UK British Computer Society to Sri Lanka Computer Society to my society in Australia, the Australian Computer Society, New Zealand, South Africa, ACM in the US, and so forth across the world. So last year at our 60th anniversary, we organized more than 50 events around the world with all our 13 working groups and our members around the 5 continents. So we have events from the north, from Canada to South Africa to New Zealand. We also have events from China, from the east, Japan to the west, to Denmark and to Latin America. and they showcase a variety of issues which are topical in our ICT today. So thank you for the invitation again. So I'd like, just before I start, to just share my journey with data and also with artificial intelligence. As you all know, AI is part of the facets of the many emerging tech that is now merging, interconnecting, and creating new complex challenges, not just ethical, but legal and regulatory challenges, including those important relating to data and data protection and privacy. So my journey started early with providing submission to the first privacy law in New Zealand back in the 1980s. And then I was involved in chairing a panel on big data in 2017 at the International Technology Law Conference in Arizona, where it was very relieving to me that the United States has, at that stage in 2013, not a framework for data protection and privacy. When I asked the lawyers in my panel about this particular issue of privacy, they said the US allows emerging tech companies to innovate, and they're not so keen on creating legislation which could hamper and make it difficult for innovative companies to actually grow and prosper. So as a result, we have seen Facebook and Google over the years multiply and go across the world. And more recently in 2015, I talked at the Sydney Business School about who owns data, which is still a very pressing issue today. And over the years, I dealt with a number of issues on data and artificial intelligence. And recently, in our 60th anniversary IFIP, I've written a chapter on the challenges of regulation in artificial intelligence and ethics, and was involved with UNICA last year with ICSDP talking about ethics and regulation of artificial intelligence. So what is data? As we all work in the industry, there's no perfect definition of data. There are a variety of definitions, as you can see from the screen, from the UN Commission Digital Economy Report. They talked about a version of data, and we can also see in the recent Australian inquiry into Australia's use of data and digital report 2022 about the ability for data to be used many times across many areas. So we have data, which I also spoke today, from many different sources. They are as varied as the colors of flowers in the fields, and you can see they all come with a different DNA, different rules about different colors, how they grow, and that's very similar with the many types of data that we are looking at, from public data to private sector data, data about individuals, personal data, transactional data, research data, and including materials that's under copyright protection and under intellectual property. The difficulty with data or regulating data is like droplets of water. Once the drops goes into the sea, it's out there. It's very hard to control. Even if you want the droplets that belongs to you to come back, it's almost impossible to do that. Once it becomes part of the ocean, part of the river, part of the lake, it's very hard to control. So for us based in the East, I like to compare the battle with data now, like the spices. When the Western world came out to the East to look for spices in the 15th and the 17th century, now data is a valuable resource. It's not just oil, but it's data. So the recent Economist in 2017 mentioned data is the new oil of the future. So when the West came to the East to fight for spices in Sri Lanka and the East Indies, I think this is where we're at now with data, because data with data mining is a valuable resource, which I will talk about in the next couple of slides. One of the challenges that we have data now is not just about privacy, it's about the economics of data. As you see, one of the recent ITU report just last year on emerging technology trends, artificial intelligence and big data for development. Data has enormous potential to help the world achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG goals. So how do we enable the world with the power of data to innovate, to create new industry, to provide new wealth for developing countries as well as developed countries? So back when I started this journey looking at this area of big data, I look at the Obama White House report on big data published in 2014. What is it about data? What are the characteristics? Is it a property that you can own? Is it a public resource that we do for the public good? Or is it an expression of personal data, the individual identity that we need to protect and have human rights concerns? So the debate around property is not new. It's currently intensified. There is a big battle going on about rights and who are allowed to use what data. On one hand, you have people who wants to protect data they own. On the other hand, we have people who wants the data to be used for data mining, to find the next cure, to find the next innovative use, to create a new digital economy. So there is a tension, there's a challenge, there is a movement on either side. So where is the middle ground where we meet on this issue? So when we talk about ownership, a lot of people say, who owns data? Have I a right to own data? How do you own something which is a droplet of water which goes into the sea and merge with the masses? So you need to go back to the traditional concept of the law. What does it mean to own, to have ownership? So we look at, from the traditional publications in the law, we look at four classic attributes of ownership. The right to possess, in this case, the right to possess data, and in this case, the right to use the data, and the right to control. But then, can you remain in control with its droplets of water without interference from others? So these are coming slides. I would challenge some of the concept about the issue of data ownership. Traditionally, when we talk about ownership, we look at intellectual property, laws like copyright and patents. We look at whether copyright can protect the book, the play, the music, the artwork, can be locked up in patents so that they have a right to patent and use the invention for X number of years before it comes to the public domain. Or is something we can protect using confidential information? Or is it something that comes under privacy laws? Now, according to UNCTAD, the UN Commission, UNCTAD, 75% of the world now has privacy legislation. But what does that mean for the world? So when we come back to data, who owns data? And when we look at data, as I said, there are many forms of data. When it comes to factual data, data that you create from IoT, that you get some sensors, which is factual, those are not likely going to be protected under our traditional intellectual property laws. And in many cases, in the Commonwealth system, including in India, Australia, New Zealand, you're not going to find any judges who are sympathetic to protect factual data information. But what about things we use to feed into our AI models? So in recent weeks, we've heard a lot about ChatGPT. That's been released by OpenAI. They're prototyping this chat box. They have been trained using masses of books and photos, drawings, sounds, films, videos, and they're all been used to train ChatGPT. What about the copyright laws? What about those materials that people have created under copyright that has been used to train ChatGPT? So recently, Cosmopolitan has published, and this is the first cover in the world that used generative art from data data that has sourced from the public, from the internet, from social media, and they use data and using an AI system called Dell E2, created by OpenAI, to create realistic images. So this particular cover has been created by AI. And also we have huge cries now from artists around the world. And in this case, this artist, Radgrowski, is from Poland. He's been drawing, illustrating fantasy art, Dungeons and Dragons, and that has been sucked into AI models such as Stable Diffusion. And with the use of this, we can create new art that creates the same sort of style that the artist Radgrowski would have used. So there are, if you read in the media, social media in the last 2 weeks, there's now a huge outcry from artists all over the world, from Australia to Poland. The artwork has been sucked into models so that people could use it, using the models to create new art forms using the styles of those artists. So obviously we've got challenges moving ahead. A number of countries have started or have undertaken consultation about artificial intelligence and IP. And one of the things I want to focus about today, highlighted as number one, is the use of text in data mining in AI use and development. So the UK government's just published their reports. They're looking at extending their current data mining exception from research. They're going to expand that to for commercial use. So they're going to look at allowing data in all forms for use for data mining to train AI systems, but they also have exception which they allow rights holders of intellectual property or other rights to actually opt out of the system. Look at other countries. What other countries are doing in this area? The US have a similar right called fair dealing. EU has just passed and expanded text mining for both commercial and non-commercial purposes. We talked about UK. Singapore also recently passed laws to do both commercial and non-commercial use of data mining, and Japan before that. In countries like Australia and New Zealand, there is no current exception. The Australian Computer Society had done a submission recently and talked about the lack of this text mining exception to actually provide innovation in the AI space. But looking at those different laws, there are no uniformity across those laws in those countries. So where and how should we use text data mining if we are professions working in this area? So just another example, we have seen how music from Beethoven has been used to finish his last symphony, the 10th Symphony, and complete the picture using artificial intelligence. We've also seen the next Rembrandt project, where Rembrandt's paintings have been trained in AI models to create new paintings in the style of Rembrandt. We also seen the recent robot IDA giving evidence to the House of Lords in the UK, where they're giving in the Creative Future inquiry on the use of creative work in AI development. IDA created this painting of the late Queen Elizabeth, for her Platinum Jubilee quite recently. And she also gave evidence about the challenges for the creative industry from robots and AI like her moving forward into the future. So also in this particular space, we have now also huge conversations about who actually owns work like this painting here that's been created by AI, or the next Rembrandt, or the unfinished symphony for Beethoven. Who actually own those works as we move into the future? So that's a very open question. Our intellectual property laws around the world currently do not recognize work that does not have any human input or human creativity. because those are essential ingredients for copyright protection. And similarly, for patent inventions, they require human, an author, an inventor in the process. So looking at some of the cases, Australia, if you use technology to advance the case for innovation, you might actually lose out on protecting what you create using AI and innovation. And similarly, we had this case in the US where the Copyright Office refused the registration of a new artwork created by AI called Recent Entrance to Paradise. So what does that mean? Obviously, this area is a big subject. I recently gave a talk to the Law Asia Conference held in Sydney about the crossover between AI and IP. Happy to refer to this, but in the sake of time, won't be able to go through the details in this space. So the conversation now has moved, and it's moving away from the concept of ownership of data, to more about how do we control and use data. So across the world, we are seeing new legislation about allowing the use of public sector information. Here we have, in terms of the Data Availability and Transparency Act by the Australian federal government, allowing government to share their sector data with government departments and universities, and even with the next agreement to allow the federal government to share the information with state governments. And we also have new legislation coming in, granting consumer data rights to allow consumers like individual us to get access to our data held with a number of companies, starting with the banking sector, with the utilities like gas and power, and now moving to the telecommunications, telephone in 2023. And obviously Australia has also done Privacy Act in the past, which also cover biometrics, which is facial recognition, and which is also very personal data and considered as sensitive. So in 2022 and many places around the world, we've seen many legislation being drafted. We've seen many countries, including India, doing AI strategies. We have many countries creating or strengthening their data protection laws from across the world. We've seen now with the EU proposing a new AI legislation. Canada is not far behind, and the US is also discussing a legislation around AI. So perhaps importantly, when we look at this discussion of data, I think we all know about the European GDPR, or General Data Protection Regulation. It's all about data. If you like all the rights created by this piece of legislation in the EU, talking about moving data from one place, portability, the right to object to the use of data, the rights in terms of if you use my data for AI and ultimate decision making, they're all revolve around data. But this piece of legislation, we have already seen the last couple of years, has huge implications for the world. We've seen a number of countries strengthening their data protection laws to actually come up to the gold standard that has been set by the European Union. And also recently with IFIP, and with UN, we have been talking at the Internet Governance Forum recently held in Ethiopia about the ethics and regulation of AI and emerging technologies itself. And in that, we talked about the different types of legislation. So if you look in this chart, in this diagram, this is just one European Union. They already have so many legislation dealing with data, from Data Strategy to Data Governance Act to Data Act, sharing public information, sharing private information, open data, Digital Service Act, you name it, cybersecurity, privacy, GDPR, AI proposed legislation, the list goes on. And I can see this trend growing and growing, not just in the EU, but across every space in the world, including Asia and India. So the journey, just to touch briefly on the EU legislation on proposed artificial intelligence. It started in April last year, but even in that short time of a year, we've seen many iterations, because this is going to be the test bed for the world. It's going to be setting the gold standard. Even with the different iteration of the last many months, it's likely going to delay this legislation going through until 2024. And one of the challenges is definition. Lawyers love to talk about definition. How do you regulate something if you don't know what the definition or what the thing is that you're regulating? But the issues with AI is the area is still evolving as fast as we can put pen to paper. And if you look at the latest definition, the November definition of the draft definition of artificial intelligence, I've highlighted that in pink. It says based on machine or human provided data and input, but with elements of autonomy. So what is elements of autonomy, you might say? That even might get the lawyer's head spinning. So there is no single definition in the world of AI. The world is very fragmented. How do you manage and regulate something which can't even be defined? In the US space, there is no current federal legislation on AI. They're proposing a new one on Algorithmic Accountability Act. But we have seen in the United States many types of now legislation dealing with data. And more recently in New York City, in terms of employment recruitment, they're starting to regulate the use of AI employment decision tools for recruitment. We've seen a number of states having facial recognition laws. We've seen laws coming through for testing of autonomous vehicles, as well in use by public authorities. So with all this convergence of technology from not just AI, IoT, blockchain, virtual reality, augmented reality, and with all the framework for data governance and AI governance, we have huge challenges moving forward into the future. So I'd just like to briefly touch on this particular Royal Commission now in Australia that's currently happening, called RoboDebt. So as I speak, the former Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Morrison, is being questioned in the Royal Inquiry about his part in the scandal that's taken place over a number of years in Australia. The use of algorithms and data matching called RoboDebt to collect social welfare payments or alleged overpayment back from vulnerable 400,000 Australians, totaling over $1.7 billion. So it has been through many chapters. There's a court case where the judge said that's a shameful history in terms of Australian administration and a public massive administration failure. We've seen the inquiry going into its many weeks. But what's coming out to that in this interim, in the short time before the conclusion of the inquiry, we can see that a lot of our civil servants around the world are not equipped to deal with data or AI, or even see the warning signals about when not to use AI, or if you use AI, how to manage the risks and the dangers and challenges moving forward. How do you use historical data to determine whether somebody needs social welfare in the future? For the processes, one of the learnings, when we go drive towards economy, every country is saying, I'm going to make lots of money from the digital economy. But we need to be aware that when we drive for savings, for productivity, for innovation, we have to comply with the law. We have to know what we are dealing with. We cannot get IT people just because they can do it, they can create it. Because in the world we have ethics, we have morality, we have accountability, we have transparency, we have laws. Not everything that can be done with technology should be done or should not be questioned in the process. So the lessons learned, just because it's done in the physical world, doesn't mean you can translate into the online digital world without review, without assurance to make sure it's going to work in the sense that we thought it's going to work. just to wrap up, this area is hanging in the balance. We have many forces advocating for A to Z on the whole spectrum of rights, from control and use of data, from cybersecurity, for who owns what data, who owns what AI created work. What is the right balancing as we move on? Because this is challenging our very basics of our humanity, our basics of our social order, about where we think we're going to create the new world as we move forward. So if you look at the UNCTAD digital report, which is published 2021, it comes from a perspective, from the developing country perspective. Big tech is using data. Big tech comes from the north, from the global north, from US, from China, from Europe. What about the Africa, the South Africa, Asia? Their data is being used. So questioning for whom this data is flowing, for whose benefit, and for whose order. So United Nations looking for a global agreement, a convention, a uniform one across the world, to look at how do we govern data? How do we make sure there is fair use of data? How do we make sure that AI use is used appropriately with transparency, accountability, and also making sure it looks at the different human rights across different parts of the world. On that note, thank you for this invitation, and very pleased to answer any questions that you may have. So over back to you.
Well, thank you, Anthony. That was fascinating. It's a real challenge to address this massive amount of data, and do it ethically. It reminds me in the 90s when we had the advent of the internet. There was a company called Sun Microsystems, and they had this motto, which was the network is the computer. And so at the moment, I would say, hearing what you just said, the data is the computer. We need to learn how we use it.
And you're very right, Dominic. As I said, it's like the spice war. The Western powers coming to the East, fighting for spices. I even heard stories that a bag of nutmeg from the East Indies can buy you then a mansion in London. That's how valuable it is. And I think that we're coming to the same space with data. Data is a valuable resource. So people are fighting about controlling and using those data to innovate, to create the next discovery, to do the next digital economy.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Please.
Thank you, Anthony, for this inspiring talk. I mean, I want to point out one problem which might occur when we use the term algorithm in defining laws. In theory, you hear me?
Yes, I can.
In theoretical computer science, we know very well what an algorithm is. It is something we can inspect, we can investigate, we can verify. We know all the properties of an algorithm. Very often in laws or in attempt to make rules, people are using algorithm for a learned model, and that's a problem. If we have a deep learning system and we learned a model, then we have something which is not an algorithm. I mean, in the sense, we cannot inspect it. We cannot find out the properties of these learned models. And that's a major problem, I think. And in AI research, in basic research, we are working into this area. We want to investigate this learning system. We want to investigate the learned model. We want to find out how we can find the features and so on and so forth. But this has to be carefully distinguished from the notion of algorithms from theoretical computer science. You know what I mean?
Yes, Ulrich, thank you for that question. And I do agree with you, because when I saw this recent year proposed legislation in the US, they use algorithmic act legislation. And I thought about that, and I'm thinking the EU's AI, and many countries use AI, not algorithmic. Why is the US using the term algorithmic? Is that because they've tried many times to do AI legislation and they fail? And perhaps they try to use a more name that most people know about, which is far less dangerous than an AI system, to get this thing through. So you're right, there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people confused about deep learning neural networks and machine learning, whether it's a subset or a bigger set. So there's a lot, and I think that's a reflection of what's happening in the EU where you're based. Even the definition of AI, what is it that we're trying to regulate? Yeah, and that definition has changed enormously from the first draft. Yeah, so we are not always talking about the same thing, the same apples or pears. People talk about different things. So the word algorithmic shows what is happening with the Australian, this robot that thing is algorithmic, because there's no AI involved here. It's only algorithmic and data matching. The question then is, when we really get AI into this, if this had been an AI robot debt, it could have more severe repercussions. Yeah. So yes, distinction is very important. Distinction is very important for law and management, regulation, for governance. But unfortunately, we're not there because, as you know, everything is shifting as we speak. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony, sir. Thank you for your valuable speech.
Well, thank you for the invitation. So I'm sorry, I've got to run for my next appointment, which is a dinner cruise on Sydney Harbour. So I don't want to be late for the boat and get excluded, just as I run into the wharf, the boat takes off without me. So thank you for the privilege, and I look forward to further engagements with you in the months and years ahead.
Thank you, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Omar, sir, President of National Supervisory Commission for Protection of Personal Data, Morocco. I welcome you, sir.
Hello. Many thanks for the invitation, for the organizer, and also for IFIP, or responsible of IFIP, whom asked me to do this intervention. I will try to share a few slides. Do you see them?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes. For the beginning, I want to focus that the right of the protection of personal data, sorry, it is not the right. One minute, please. It's all what I will not present. Sorry, I stop. I am here. Okay. The right to the protection of personal data is something which is built internationally, which is built over time, and which is built with a certain transversality and in a multidimensional way. we should know that there exists a big organization which the name is GPA, Global Privacy Assembly, and this organization gather at least 130 organizations, which are the data protection authorities and institutions of all the countries in the world. For our side, the data protection, the Moroccan Data Protection Authority, we have the chance to be among the 8 members of the executive committee of this organization. So what I will say today will be not only for the Moroccan point of view, but also shared with a lot of organizations. In another hand, there is a network African of Data Protection Authority, in French, RAPDP, Réseau africain de la protection des données personnelles. This organization has a permanent secretariat, and the Moroccan GPA ensure this permanent secretariat in Rabat. So we have a precise view on the problematics of data protection in Africa. And I am speaking now from Torino, from Italy, where I was since 2 days, because we are working to create a Euro-Mediterranean network of data protection. So what I want to say, that like Janus, the god of the doors for the Roman mythology, Janus has 2 faces, one toward the past and one toward the future. And it's why the first month in the calendar, named January, is from Janus, one face toward December and one face toward February. We have in data protection this Janus situation. I named it Janus situation. A face toward the principles we should protect, and a face toward the need. We should use technology to reach some aims. The face toward the principles is to ensure the well-being of the digital citizen. And the face toward needs is to ensure the integration into the international value chain. When we say that, we should define against what we should protect. And we should consider that the principle, the essential point, is linked with the private life and human rights. Data protection is to ensure the private life of citizens and to ensure their rights. So we can say that we have several legislations with S, but we have one meta model. And what I will try to present here is some points linked to the meta model. I will not present all the meta model, but only some points of it. We will use a triangle view with 3 corners as all good triangle. And we want to say the law 9.8 is the name of the law in Morocco, but we can consider every data protection law. Protection of whom and protection from what? In this triangle, we have three corners. One here is dedicated to the concerned person. It means the citizen, the user, the customer, all person who will give personal data. Sorry. The second corner here is about the data controller or the data processor. It means the company or the administration which will collect data of the concerned person to provide him a service. Sorry, it is in French. It is collection of data, personal data against a service. And the third corner here is the data protection authority in the country. In Morocco is ICSDP, in France is CNIL, in UK is ICO, in Mexico it is INAI. You have on each country a data protection authority, and the government and the parliament could ask them for advice about every law which could manipulate personal data. We have three kinds of relation. If the concerned person is not happy about the work on his personal data, he could she could put a complaints or send a complaints to the data protection authority. There is a relation, it depends of the regime. We have some declarative regime and some regimes which encourage the accountability. We have a relation between the data controller and data processor and the data protection authority. The main relation is this, is the contract between the concerned person and the data controller or data processor. We give our personal data, and the data controller processor give us a service. We can push our personal data to have an official document, to have a diploma, to have a contract when we are hired by a company, or simply to have a pizza. We can call to have a pizza, and we give our address, our name, our phone number, and all this. And the Data Protection Authority, its aim is to control that this contract is aligned with the law. And if not, Data Protection Authority could decide some sanctions against the data controller and the data processor. So we have two faces, two sides. We have the citizen side and the service provider side. The citizen side is linked to democracy principles, and the service provider side is linked to the economy. And we cannot consider data protection out of these two sides. We should ensure democracy, but not block economy. And we should develop economy, but in consideration of the democratic principles. What is finally the definition of personal data processing? Because we should know that we don't protect data by personal data by mastering or by putting them somewhere and close with the key this place. We should consider that when we have a process about personal data, we have three phases. We have the collection phases, the exploitation service phases, and the destruction phases. And each process on personal data follow these three phases. So what we are searching, we want to ensure that in each of these phases, the private life is guaranteed. The private life is the subject of data protection. For this private life, we should, what is meaning that we ensure or we guarantee or we protect the private life is to ensure that the relation between a person and his identification is not known by everybody. The relation between the person and the use of some services. For example, we know that the Millennium Challenge asks for a legal ID for each citizen in the world on 2030. But we can observe some mistakes in the analysis of this challenge. Because to have a legal ID doesn't mean that we should have a unique ID. And I think that in India, with the system Aadhaar, you have a good example to something perhaps to be improved. It is an euphemism. When I take an identity, in my family, it's my first name. Because in my family, everybody has the same name. So to distinguish myself or to distinguish one member of the family, we use the first name. My district, my identity is linked with my first name, my last name, and my address. In school, I could have my first name, my last name, my address, my date of birth, and the place of birth. In my country, is all this plus a national identity number. In the world, is all this plus my nationality. It's like the referential of Galileo. And we can have a criminal record with some events in this fold, or a medical record with the main events of my health. Today, what we are observing and we have then an identity in IT world. So my criminal record could be transformed by paper from paper to digital support, and it is a huge extension. A medical record could be digitalized, but the confusion for us is that we have an ambiguity between the computerization and the digitalization. Why? Because today we have not only a criminal record with few events or no events, or a medical record with few events, but we have what we can name a life report and an intimate life report. All our action in the digital world could be recorded. When you go to the restaurant, or when you go to the hotel, or when you buy a ticket of train, or what you can do could be recorded. We are in the society of a traceability. So we should decide in which society we want to live. For example, some people said that you can say in United States, you can say in China, you can say in India, you can say in Europe, you can say in Africa. But what are the democratic values we want to follow for our society? And the question here is that we have between the identity IT world in blue and the life report or intimate life, we have a mechanism which is principle. It is the mechanism of consent. I give my data, personal data, but I should consent that I give them to the data processor. Although we have some mechanism which can be used without consent. And one of these mechanisms is the facial recognition, which can link between the identity and the life report without consent. If you are in the street, or if you are in an airport, or if you are in a school, if there is some camera which are not managed respecting the law, we can know and record what you are doing without your consent. And it is this link which we should consider in the data protection to ensure the private life. And what is the relation, the link between all this and the artificial intelligence? It is that we have the emergence here of a new mode of governance, which a mix between human, artificial intelligence, algorithm, and several other manners. This new mode of governance could use all the information of the life reports and the intimate reports, considering some principles, some aims, to reach some aims, but the regulation of this is to be sure that this new mode of governance will respect some democratic values. It is why we should speak about the regulation. Because in this new model of governance, we will have a lot of automatic decision, and the human should keep the right to verify if an automatic decision which could be concern him is loyal and is transparent. So we consider that the digital identity today is not my name, my first name, my birth, my date of birth, or the classical personal data. Our personal data today is this, but it is like an iceberg. It is only the top. The behavioral data, all what we are doing all the day and all the night today are the main personal data we should protect. And what is the link with artificial intelligence? Another time, we cannot protect data, the personal data, by putting them in our pocket. We should encourage the circulation of data, but we should ensure a kind of legal continuity of protection. If I send my data in Europe, for example, I should verify if in Europe there is legislation which are the same level of protection, and I can send my data there. I should not send my data in an area where we have not protection legislation. And the protection is to manage, to regulate the way of processing on the personal data. So the processing is, if you see the name of the laws all over the world, it is not protection of data, it is to regulate the processing of personal data. So artificial intelligence is a way of processing, but it is difficult in the world today. I am not speaking about the academic world, but I am speaking about the world around us. It is difficult to make the difference, to distinguish between what is an AI processing and what is a not AI processing. All today AI is a true buzzword. Everything is AI. When we want to impose something to someone, we tell him it is AI. But what is the difference between my speed, for example, a speed computerization, a speed calculation, and AI? Today, if I take my machine à calculer, my calculation machine, and I put 1 + 1, and I see in the screen that it is 2, is it AI? No, it is not AI. It is a way, a technical way to reach some results more quickly than if I use only my brain. So AI is noble, is a different paradigm. It is toward and it is not only an algorithmic way on a very speed calculator. So today, the threshold between what is AI and not AI should be defined. Why? Some institutions, some persons, some governments want to create a regulation specific to AI. We said that we should avoid the multiplication of legislative sets because the aim is to keep clear for the citizen. We should avoid the multiplication of institutions because we risk to weaken these institutions by their multiplication and by a wrong understanding about what is AI. AI for the data protection is a kind of processing this personal data, and it should be regulated by the same institution than personal data. What we are seeing, Professor Wong, you said that there is in Europe, for example, a lot of legislative text. When we have a lot of legislations, we can create confusion, and we can create a battle between institutions. And it is not the aim. The aim it is to protect the citizen. And it is why we want to share with you and with all our colleagues that we should work at the meta model level and not at the legislation level. Many thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Omar sir. Thank you for your valuable address.
Sorry?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I request all the participants are requested to switch on your camera to take a snapshot with our keynote speakers. Thank you, everyone. Now the time for break. We will be resume here at 1 o'clock at the same link. Afternoon, we have paper presentation session. The paper ID 8, 15, 32, 28 and 30. Be ready with your presentation. That presentation session chairs are Dr. Oldrich sir from Germany and Dr. Chitrababu ma'am, Professor, SSN College of Engineering, CSE Department, and Dr. Rajesh Khanna sir, VIT, Chennai. Thank you, everyone.
Ma'am, should we join in the same link?
Yes, ma'am. You can same. You have to resume at 1 o'clock at the same link, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
பண்ணி கொடுக்குறது ஒரு ப்ளஸ் பீஸாக உங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துருவோம். போர்ட் சேனல் இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு போர்ட் சேனல் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மண்டே கண்டிப்பாக மண்டே பண்ணி கொடுக்குறேன். கொஞ்சம் தேங்க்யூ.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, Rajesh, able to hear you. Yeah. How are
Right,
you?
right. Fine, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. Fine,
Yeah,
ma'am.
good morning.
Good afternoon to all. Now, once again, I would like to welcome you all for the International Conference on Security and Data Privacy. Now, the time for paper presentation. This session will be coordinated by Dr. A. Chamundeshwari Ma'am, Professor, SSN College of Engineering, CS Department. And now I would like to welcome paper ID 8 participants to present their paper.
Thank you, Mani.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Thank you, participants, for joining. So we'll be now starting the session, Technical Paper Presentation 1. So we are having here Dr. Ulrich Heborik. And sir is a professor from University of Koblenz, Germany. So his research area includes, he's very strong in logic programming and AI. So welcome you, sir, for the session. Next, we have here Dr. Chitra Babu. So Madam is a professor in SSN College of Engineering and CSE department. And Madam is working in AI, security area, cloud computing, and in distributed networks. So welcome you, ma'am, for joining the session. Thank you, ma'am. Now we have with us Rajesh Khanna, sir. Rajesh Khanna, sir, is from VIT Chennai, from the Computer Science and Engineering Department. So, sir is working in AI related domains. So he has completed his PhD in the AI domain. So I hope that the participants can start the session. So first I call upon the paper ID 8. So we have here some evaluation criteria also for the evaluating the papers, the scope and the appropriateness, soundness, and the novelty and the contribution towards the work, replicability, whether you're able to reproduce the results, question answer sessions, and the presentation. So we have here some 6 components, and based on that, the review team will be evaluating your papers, and you can start your presentation. Now follow up on first paper ID 8. Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to all.
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Okay, ma'am. I'll share my screen.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you able to see my presentation PPT?
No.
Ma'am, do you have a permission for presenting, ma'am? Durga Devi.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a permission?
Sorry, yes, sir.
Do you have a permission to present, to act as a presenter? 1 second.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's okay. That's a problem. Okay, why don't you send a mail or anyway, she has to do the presentation, no? So she should have the movement, everything.
Ma'am, Panala, ma'am, you have a permission. You just try. Teams la than irukeenga, ma'am, Durga Devi.
Yes, yes, sir.
Mobile, laptop thane?
ஆமா சார் ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார் இப்போ தெரியுதுங்களா சார் கேன் யூ ஏபிள் டு see
இருக்கு yes
okay
we can see
okay okay sir. Okay sir. Is myself Durga Devi.
Durga Devi. Make it as a slide.
Presentation.
Slide presentation.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Yeah, myself Durga Devi. I'm a research scholar from SRM Institute of Science and Technology. I'm doing PhD under the guidance of Dr. Akila ma'am. My topic is a comparative evaluation of deep learning algorithms for various disease prognosis. And this is my presentation overview. Before I go to my topic, I'll say why I choose this topic is for disease prediction, it have potential benefits to stakeholders, and also it can identify patients at risk of disease or health conditions. Suppose there are many diseases, there are many diseases which we cannot cure in critical stage. If suppose we know that in earlier, we can save the life of the patient. So for that, disease prediction is most important to save the life of the patient. And clinicians can then take appropriate measures to avoid and minimize the risk. Yes, we can focus emergency cases. If suppose we know we predicted earlier, no, we can identify the patient who is in critical stage. So we can avoid the critical stage of the patients, and it also will improve quality of care. And then it is to avoid potential hospital admissions. Mainly in Corona period, no, we don't have space in hospital also. So if suppose we are predicting the critical stage of the patient, no, we can see that we can focus on that particular emergency cases. So we can avoid that potential hospital admissions also here. So I choose this topic. And introduction. Next topic is introduction. Deep learning algorithms. We know that AI subfield only deep learning algorithms. So deep learning algorithms are a function of AI that attempts to imitate the workings of the human brain. And also it uses ANN, which means the artificial neural network that connect like a verb. And for deep learning, with the help of that deep learning, we can predict. Prediction is possible with the help of deep learning. And this deep learning technology, we can learn from a patient's medical history. See, this is a classification of neural network diagram. From neural network, we have a feed-forward neural network, a recurrent or feedback neural network, self-organizing. Under the feed-forward neural network, we have. Sorry.
Oh, we lost your presentation. PPT.
Ma'am, can you able to see now?
No.
1 minute.
Yes, now we are able to see.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Under feed-forward neural network, we have linear, non-linear, and under RNN, we have LSTM, gated recurrent unit. I'll say what is meant by that feed-forward neural network, which means ANN, artificial neural network. And here there will be connection between nodes, and it does not form a cycle. But in RNN, it is opposite to. The feedback is opposite to feed-forward. It will form cycle, which means pathways or cyclic here. And in a feed forward, information will be passing in only one direction. But in RNN, information data will be passing through multiple hidden nodes here. And I'll say the linear. What is the difference between linear and non-linear? Means a linear, we don't have any activation function, but in non-linear we have activation functions like ReLU, TAN, sigmoid, and LSTM gated recurrent unit. It's under RNN. So LSTM in a long short-term memory, it will handle the situation. If suppose RNN fails in cases, it will handle LSTM. And gated recurrent unit, it will solve the gradient problem which comes with this RNN. And here supervised and unsupervised under non-linear feed forward neural network. Supervised, which means it will able data set. Unsupervised, it will analyze the data set. This is the classification of neural network. And deep learning, we know deep learning builds computer models, and also it shows groundbreaking performance. And with the applications of this will demonstrate the value of convolutional neural network in a practical situation. And also I have told already that it uses ANN that connect like a verb. This is the workflow diagram. If suppose I am predicting the disease from the patient registration, I'll collect the data, which means factor values like a BP, sugar level, like that. With that factor values, I'll collect that information, and from that information, I'll extract the data, and from extracting the data, I'll calculate the values, probability and possibility of that disease. I'll classify, and then I'll predict from the patient registration. I'll use the database to extract the data. This is the flow diagram for disease predicting. Here, a few biomedical signals are chosen for prediction, which means I am including some methods: ECG, EEG, MRI, and CTC scan. So, electrical activity of the heart and brain are measured by ECG and EEG, which means heart for ECG and brain for EEG. I mean ECG, electrocardiogram, EEG, which stands for encephalogram. A number of pathologic anomalies, including internal derangements, metastatic disease, infection, fractures, joint degeneration. These are the can be identified on CT and MRI scan. We will be taking CT and MRI scan for joint fracture, like that. For that, we will use these techniques. Okay, mainly I'm using these methods, 4 methods, with the help of test input parameters to get the values of disease prediction. And next topic is literature survey. And here deep paper is deep learning for a patient independent epileptic seizure prediction using scalp EEG signals. Author is Dizaneki Fernando Denman, who developed this during 2021, and they have been used convolutional neural network model. In this, it reduces the physical and mental damage caused, but there is a longer duration of EEG signals, so that need to be collected. So first one is drawback. I mean, it reduces the physical and mental damage caused, but longer duration of EEG signal need to be collected. And second paper is a stroke disease detection and prediction using robust learning approaches, developed by author is Tozin Nur Alam during 2021. Used algorithm, logistic regression, decision tree classification, and in this it is reliable, more reliable and accuracy, but it needs to extend the dependability, enhance the dependability. And third one, a lightweight neural network for ECG anomaly detection in IoT edge sensors, developed by Sivapalan K. Nandi Dev during 2022 with the help of MIT BIH arrhythmia database, which means database will be collected in hospitals. And second, SMOT algorithm. SMOT stands for synthetic oversampling technique. And it in this it is a low complexity, but hospital database data set balanced. Next, early stroke prediction methods for prevention of stroke, developed Mandip Kaur during 2022. He developed this with the help of algorithms, time series based prediction model, and EEG bioelectrical signal. It performs well, but method need to be included. Next one, next paper is improving stroke diagnosis accuracy using hyperparameter optimized deep learning. developed by Badria during 2022, and he used random search algorithm Bayesian optimization. In this, it reduces expenses, but accuracy may decrease in this. So that is one drawback here. And next paper is a deep learning and machine learning for early detection of stroke and hemorrhage, developed by Ziad Galab during 2022, and he developed the help of algorithm MRI data set. He have been used, and a recursive feature elimination algorithm also he used. In this, it balanced the data set, but it is dependent on factors. And next, predictive analytics approach for stroke prediction using machine learning and neural networks developed by Gina during 2022, used EHR data set and principal component analysis. With the help of this algorithm, it understanding the risk factors easily, but recording and storing all the features. So that is one drawback here. And next is AI-based stroke disease prediction system using ECG and PPG biosignal by Spark during 2022, with the help of CNN model and ECG and PPG signal. In this, accuracy and performance will maintain, but analyzing various. Can you able to see my PPT?
Please proceed. I'm able to see.
Yes. Okay, ma'am.
I
Okay.
think you can get into your work.
Okay.
Lot of
Okay.
time you're okay.
Okay.
So you get it.
Sorry. Okay. Next is observation. In this, I have been used a method for disease prediction. CA GRU. These are the methods have been used for the prediction, already been used for the prediction, heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, stroke for RNN, COVID-19 lung for LSTM, neurological disease for GRU. With the help of this test input parameters, I mean for heart disease, ECG, stroke, MRI, lung CT, and neurological disease EEG. With the help of this methods for this test input parameters, will be getting this type of accuracy value with the formula. With the help of the formula, and from the literature survey, some algorithms suitable for specific disease prediction, and it is used for the study predicted the early disease prediction problem. Here we have been used many methods, but in this GRU performs best with 95.6% accuracy, followed by CNN with 88% accuracy, RNN with 80% accuracy, and LSTM with 83.03% accuracy. Along with this, we are also using biomedical signal processing like MRI, CT, ECG, and EEG.
Durga Devi,
This is a comparative.
Can I interject? Did you run? Can you go to your previous slide?
Okay.
Yeah. Did you do all this, or you are giving all these accuracy results from your literature?
Ma'am, actually, I'm from the previous literature survey. I'm getting this accuracy, all those things for odd disease, all those things. I'm just getting all those methods with this test input parameters. We'll be getting this accuracy value.
Please answer the question. That is, did you run these models and got the accuracy, or you are taking these accuracy percentages from the respective literature papers?
Ma'am, from the paper only, I have studied. I'm surveyed the paper. With the help of that, I've done that.
Where is
formula.
your contribution coming in? Can you highlight where you have done something
yes,
on top of the literature?
Yes, ma'am. I'll show, ma'am. Ma'am, these are the things. With the help of that formula.
Which formula?
I am just analyzed. I'll show, ma'am, this with the help of this formula. Here I have been used, ma'am. This diagram. True, positive, false, negative.
Yeah, that's a very
example
basic
of this
stuff. Okay, yeah.
So I'm just calculating the precision, recall, all those things. Value for different disease. How to predict all those disease. I'm just analyzing.
Till now, I'm not able to see that what original work has been done in this. I'm not able to see that. If I'm missing something, please highlight. I'm not seeing anything original here.
Ma'am, actually,
Okay,
this is
go
a
ahead.
survey paper, ma'am. I'm just
Yeah, but even
analyzing
in
all
the
this.
survey, I'm not seeing any insights coming out of it. Till now, I'm not seeing any insights. Your presentation, you have to highlight what exactly you have found from your survey of different things. Please present it accordingly. It is very disjoint. Whatever literature survey you presented, and after that, whatever you are telling, both are not connecting. Please connect it and present. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I'm calculating and analyzing which is we have used this all those CNN separately. They have been used CNN, RNN, LSTM, GRU, ma'am. With this, which one is best accuracy actually? GRU is performs best accuracy. I am calculating, ma'am.
I'm not able to see that is because this has been the CNN implementation, RNN implementation, LSTM, GRU, all has been done already. They would have calculated the accuracy by themselves, right? So you put that
Yes.
number and then you are telling that which is the maximum of all these numbers. Is that what you are telling?
Ma'am,
I'm
actually,
failing to find any this thing. Yeah, okay. If you go ahead. If others have questions, then maybe I'll come back to it at the end. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay, this is a comparative accuracy score of different DL algorithms for disease prediction. Ma'am, here, I'm analyzing, which is, they have been separately used the disease methods, but I am analyzing the GRU is the best performing for accuracy level like that, ma'am. Okay, performance analysis, a sample data set for disease prediction. This is sample data set. We'll be collecting from the patient registration. From the patient registration only, we will we will extract the data and we will classify the data and also we will calculate the prediction value also. The model performance can be assessed using a variety of performance metrics. Here, performance measures always assess how well the model performance on the test data set. And I have been already told that methods, these types of methods, calculating with the formula accuracy value, precision value, and recall value. And this is a formula for each, measure. And the confusion matrix, why we go for confusion matrix means if suppose we cannot identify, if suppose several diseases will have a single symptom, same symptom. We can have headache, we can have vomiting for a different disease. So for that purpose, we'll be using confusion matrix. So we can calculate accuracy by applying this formula on a confusion matrix. If suppose this is an example that suppose 36 patients are there, we can calculate how many patients are sick, how many patients are healthy. So these are the values: 17 positive, 4 false negative, 17 false positive, 8 true negative. So we can calculate all those things, accuracy, precision, and recall values with the help of this diagnosis prediction. With that formula already, we have been seeing that with that formula, we will use this. TP, for TP, we have to put 7, for FN and 4, like that. We have to enter the values for that formula and we can calculate the precision and recall value. So I have been used art disease, for instance. I have been used the formula here and I have calculated the precision and recall for art stroke Alzheimer disease here. So open issues. Next topic is open issues. Slide is, there are some security and privacy issues on patient records because we are collecting the record from the patients. So there is some issues in this, and it has some synergy between technology and medical diagnosis, which means interaction between this both technology and medical diagnosis we have. And data dependency must be upheld, and some feature sets need to be updated here. These are the open issues here. And next, finally, conclusion. We have analyzed different methods and thorough the examination of test input parameters and discussed several algorithms for disease prediction here.
Yeah, Durga
And
Devi, one second. Durga Devi, one
oh,
second.
ma'am.
I think
Ma'am.
maybe ma'am was asking something. Ma'am,
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am, you were asking something?
No, ma'am. I'm not asking anything. Maybe I accidentally my audio has been switched
Okay.
on.
Ma'am, I can continue.
Yes, 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 yes. Please continue.
Okay, here I have analyzed different methods and I am thorough the examination of test input parameters and I've discussed several algorithms, and also it supports for automatic disease identification in healthcare facilities, and also these deep learning techniques are essential in resolving this problem, which means we can identify the disease prediction with the help of DL techniques. These are the reference paper I have been used. That's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So am I audible?
Sorry.
Durga, am I audible, Durga? Am I
Sir,
audible?
yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
audible, sir.
Okay, what's the difference between prognosis and diagnosis? That's your problem. Is it a problem is diagnosis or prognosis? Just go to the first slide. That's better, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Prediction.
Right. See, you just because like you're saying something in objective in a title, like you just say from your mouth, like which one you're planning to do that. Diagnosis or comparison of the model. It's the model, not the algorithms. Algorithms are different, models are different. Deep learning has a model, it doesn't have an algorithm. Okay. I want to know from you which one you are planning to focus on that. Let me know.
Actually, various disease. I'm focusing on disease prediction only, sir.
Okay.
Disease prediction. Disease prediction. In that disease prediction, I'm just analyzing which one is better. I mean, comparing the methods. Which one is comparatively?
Is it specific to the disease or variety of diseases? That is another problem. Is it
For
specific to
my research paper? Sorry.
Is it your research depends on variety of diseases or only specific to the particular
Only
disease?
specific disease. I am
But
having an idea to predict stroke disease, sir. For stroke disease, I am analyzing what are the methods are being used for disease prediction and which one is better for stroke and which algorithm is best to predict like that for calculating best accuracy, good accuracy.
All right, then you just think about only the stroke. Don't think about other literatures. All of the you have taken so many other irrelevant literatures, and just go back to your. The point is, you are planning for a stroke prediction. Are you doing the prognosis or diagnosis?
Prognosis.
What is the meaning of prognosis? What is the difference
Prediction.
between these two? What is the difference between these two? You're confusing. What is the difference between these two?
Prognosis means which prediction. Some.
Is it early prediction or prediction comes after that?
Prediction.
Early prediction or prediction once it comes?
Prediction.
Okay. Should see to the definition. You should know about the difference. So otherwise, it's very difficult to define. Then go to your literature survey and go to your first data grabbing. Like you said, some processing. You came with some square boxes. Third or fourth slide. It's go back. Yeah. Like are you going to yes, I'm just talking this. Yeah. Go back to the slide picture. There is a flow diagram. I could see the flow diagram. Just stop it. Are you going to deal with deep learning or machine learning?
Deep learning only, so planning.
What is the difference between DL and ML? Is it data extraction will be coming? Is it extraction of the data will be coming, or else the data will be represented as such? You try to find the difference. You try to find the difference. Like so, the extraction and all will never come because like this model will learn that. Okay, so there is a flaw. There is a flaw in this. You need to know the difference between prognosis, diagnosis. You should know about the difference between machine learning and deep learning. So that is a messy side of come. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next
Okay,
slide.
sir.
Yeah, next a few more. And like, yeah, maybe previous slide. You have a four different types, ECG, EE, and MR, NCT, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
But like for ECG, time series models are suitable. For MRI, vision-based models are suitable, and the CT scan, Boltzmann, other heterogeneous models suitable. But I could see from your literature, you have misinterpreted. You just go back to the literature 1 and 2, and you have given some observation table as well. Go to the observation table. Yeah, observation table. Yeah. Like, will the hard disk will be done through CNN? Your samples are ECG samples. It's a time series data. Okay. How come the CNN will take the time series data and do the prediction? CNN will look for the neighborhood patterns. It looks for the visible patterns. How do you connect that? Please check the literature again. I have some skeptic on that. Okay. And CT is image. In an image, how come you can use the LSTM? Please check out your literature survey. Okay. And so many things you are supposed to work. Okay. So maybe it's your initial stage of the research. I can understand that, but like you have to work a lot. You have to work a lot. That's it from my side. Like the literature, go back to the previous slide as well. So three literatures I just seen, all the literatures, your interpretations are completely wrong. Yeah, go back to literature number 1, 2, 1. Yeah, 1. Just go 1. Go to the literature number 1. Serial number 1. Yeah, this thing I'm talking about. Like, so the first literature is again is a ECG. You are using CNN. I don't know how you are using that. And third literature, go to the third literature. I could see oversampling model. Go to the third literature, please. Yeah. How come is that third? Yeah. Smoto algorithm. You said Smoto algorithm. I don't know how come you're connecting this here. Okay, your literature survey, you have to work a lot. I could see only the title, name of the author, but the inference, you have to infer it. You have to feel it, then bring it over here. Something is missing. Okay. Yeah, you have to work a lot. That's what from my side.
Yes, Durga Devi, it is very sketchy and loose, not like a research paper. That is, you have not gone in depth and have understood the concepts. It is put up in a very haphazard manner. So as Rajesh pointed out, please clarify all your concepts and try to have clarity on your research problem so that you can proceed properly. As of now, even for a survey is fine, but then that survey has to have a very clear way of bringing out the insights of different things and then talking about putting them in perspective, but that is not coming out in your presentation. It is like some terminologies are simply being very loosely used throughout your presentation. Please kind of correct yourself before you proceed further. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, I'll correct it, ma'am.
May I ask a question also? Can you hear me?
Sorry, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear.
Okay. I mean, this question was addressed before by my colleague, but again, did you make a comparative study of algorithms, or did you make a comparative study of literature? That's a difference. I mean, did you run the algorithms yourself, all of them on the same machine, so to say, and compare them, or did you take the numbers from the literature and compare these numbers comparatively?
Are you getting, Durga Devi? If you are simply getting the numbers from the literature and you are telling us that this is the maximum, that is like a maximum of given numbers you have found out in your research. That is not what you have to do. You have to run it by yourself and then at least bring out what is best. Yeah.
What I wanted to say is it depends on the title of your work. If you do a comparative literature study, then it's okay, like you did it. But if you say you do a comparative a comparison of algorithms, then you have to run it yourself. See what I mean? I mean, the work is important. This is an important issue, and it would be worth clarifying what you are aiming at. You got it?
Yes, sir. I need to. If suppose I'm working in algorithms, I need to work out that. Then only I can analyze properly. That only you're trying to say. I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I need to. I mean, I need to run that algorithms. Without running, I'm just analyzed that only thing.
Exactly.
Is I'll.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And another issue is, of course, the topic of the conference. You mentioned this in open issues, that security and data privacy is important. And of course, it would be interesting to learn more about that, because this is a very private sector and the data is very, very private. And in particular in Europe, at least in Germany, we are taking a lot of care for these kind of privacies in healthcare. This is an important issue.
Okay.
You should address it. Yes.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
That's from my side.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, can we move on to the next?
Thank you, ma'am.
Devi, so what you have to do
Yes.
is that whatever comments your session chairs shared, okay, they have shared,
Yes.
you have to incorporate, okay, incorporate the
Oh,
changes.
sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Sure, ma'am. I'll do it, ma'am. Sure. Thank you for
Okay. I hope that you got a lot of insights in your work. You are able, you got the clarity, like what they have asked. I hope you got it,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I got it, ma'am. I'll correct it.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am. Thank you for concern. Okay. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
So now I call upon the next author, paper ID 32. Dr. S. Arivadagan or Mrs. M. Mary Roslyn Tamilchelvi, P.V. Karthikeswaran, and Kuberan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome, ma'am. You can start your presentation.
Yeah.
Please share your presentation. I think a lot of disturbance.
I'm not able to
What is your problem, madam?
see your screen. You are not able to view my presentation, huh?
No. Till now, we are not able to see the presentation.
1 second.
Yes, now we are able.
Now is it
Yes, madam.
okay?
You have to go to the presentation.
The slides are not visible. Now I have opened the presentation, ma'am.
Your desktop is visible to us, but your slides are missing. Just you have to. Yes, your paper is visible now.
Now is it visible?
Now, yes, your slide is visible. Just put it in the presentation mode.
So the presentation is about the work done by my student on.
Madam, is it possible for you to put it in the presentation mode?
Actually, this is LibreOffice.
And also there is a lot of noise coming from your system, not able to hear you clearly.
Okay, now it is in presentation mode, but the disturbance is there in your line.
So fan I'm switching off now. Other than that, there is no disturbance.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. So this is one of the work done by my student on oil spill detection in synthetic aperture radar images. And synthetic aperture radar image is very popular for remote sensing and surveillance and other monitoring applications.
Madam, I would suggest you to get into your area of work. So proposed, what is that you have focused?
Okay.
Instead of this problem statement.
Okay, ma'am. So, so we are basically doing oil spill detection in synthetic aperture radar images. Mainly the oil spill areas can be easily detected in SAR images rather than the optical images, because the oil spill, the SAR images are mainly formed based on the capillary waves, which are very high frequency, small waves on the ocean surface, which are in the same wavelength as the radar frequency. So the oil spill basically, because of its density, it suppresses the wave height of these very small scale capillary waves. Because of that, the reflection in the region of the oil spill is very less. So those regions appear very dark in the radar images. So hence the oil spill detection is easier in SAR images rather than the optical images. And the SAR images has other advantages like weather independence, fog or cloud or mist also. It will not affect the microwave transmission, and hence SAR image based surveillance is very popular. Now in oil spill detection, based on SAR images, where we have done a brief literature survey. So basically, a very simple methodology will be to do the dark area detection, since the reflection is very less in the region of the oil spill, and it will be appearing very dark in the SAR image.
Ma'am, please, you skip this literature survey, madam.
Okay, ma'am. And other methods are change detection based methods. Before the oil spill accident and after the oil spill accident, what is the change in the image? And even the Snap tool also is providing some basic methods for oil detection. And we have, and there are deep learning based methods being used for oil spill detection. So now we are providing a methodology which is a combination of the change detection and the deep learning based methodology. So deep learning based methodology will be a very computationally complex one if we are giving the whole image as input for the deep learning tool. So we are first using change detection to select the probable regions which are appearing dark in the ocean surface, which are probable, which have high probability of having an oil spill. And those areas we are giving to the deep learning tool for oil spill detection. So this is our proposed block diagram. So first we are doing the change detection, and for that we are using neighborhood ratio operator for finding the difference for change statistics between the actual SAR image and the SAR image, current SAR image, which is after the accident. And the difference image will be created based on the neighborhood ratio operator. And we use hierarchical fuzzy C-means clustering to do some clustering and removing all false pixels which are detected as change. And then this region is given to the features extracted or in the selected regions are given to the artificial neural network, and based on the ANN, we will be deciding whether it is a oil spill or not. So here we are for the data set, we are directly downloading from the Sentinel-1 satellite image. So Sentinel-1 data we can download from the Copernicus website, and it can be processed using Snap tool. So basically we find the oil spill accident date and location, and based on which we are downloading the data from the Copernicus and processing it using Snap tool. And for change statistics measuring, we are using neighborhood ratio operator. So the neighborhood ratio operator, it is working based on the similarity between the actual image and the image after the accident. So here, so it is just a correlation operator. I have not given, actually the equation is missing actually. So it is a correlation operator which correlates between the actual pixel and the pixel after in the next image. Two images we are comparing. So it finds the similarity between the pixel, similarity measure between the pixel, and it also finds the similarity between the neighborhood of the pixels in the actual image and the changed image. So the weightage for the neighborhood or the pixel will be based on the heterogeneity measure. So if it is if the heterogeneity measure is low, that is if it is homogeneous, the pixel will be given more priority, whereas in the heterogeneous condition, the neighborhood also will be taken into consideration for finding the change statistics. And then once the change statistics are measured, then the change statistics are based on the change statistics, the pixels are clustered. So that one or two odd pixels which are having a high change measure will be neglected, and only the cluster of pixels which are having a very good change statistics will be taken to the next stage. So for clustering, we are using hierarchical fuzzy Siemens clustering. So we are basically doing fuzzy Siemens clustering, hierarchical fuzzy Siemens clustering, where the clusters, the centroids will be selected randomly, and the pixels will be assigned membership to the clusters, all the clusters, and the membership will be, value will be higher based on the proximity to the centroid. And after doing fuzzy Siemens clustering, then for hierarchical fuzzy Siemens clustering, we will have some criteria based on the for deciding whether the cluster is valid or not. The criteria will be, the validity of the cluster will be based on the intra-cluster distances and inter-cluster distance. Based on that, we will be discarding the clusters, or we will merge the clusters. And after doing the clustering, so the only those regions which are changed. So we will be having regions which are changed, or we will be having 3 regions: change, unchanged, and intermediate. So the changed regions will be, the intermediate regions will be given to the artificial neural network for further classification. We will be training the ANN for deciding whether it is oil spill or not. So these are the results for Chennai's oil spill data. So the image in 2016 and after oil spill in 2017, we have these dark regions. And based on our algorithm, the oil spill detection output is given in the third image. And we also have results from San Francisco, Bern, Ottawa, Farmland, and Yellow River dataset. And we measured the performance of our proposed methodology based on percentage correct classification and kappa coefficient. And we also, for the neighborhood ratio operator, we selected different neighborhood size, for which we measured the kappa coefficient and found 5 cross 5 to be an optimal one. And these are the results of oil spill detection for San Francisco dataset. And this is for Bern dataset and Ottawa dataset, Farmland dataset. And these are the results we got, the PCC and kappa coefficient measure for different datasets. So in conclusion, we have proposed a methodology which has less computational complexity compared to the deep learning based methods, and which has better performance compared to only feature based methods. Like it is a combination of feature based and the deep learning one methodology.
Ma'am, 1 second, ma'am. Is there any questions from the session chairs?
Yes. 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 Have you completed your presentation?
Yes, ma'am. I have completed the presentation.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. You are saying that it is having as much as or the accuracy is comparable to DNN but less complex. Is that what you are claiming?
Yes, ma'am.
So how are you substantiating that? For example, in your literature, there are some works where CNN has been used, or probably I think other kind of region-based methods and other things are used. So what is the accuracy using that for the oil spill detection and using your simple ANN? Can you give those numbers? How are they comparable? If you can go to that particular slide where it is showing that both are comparable.
Actually, computational complexity wise, we have not measured because for deep learning, they are taking the whole image. Whereas we are considering only the region selected based on our change statistics. So which is comparably very less.
No, that is complexity. I'm talking about the accuracy with which the oil spills are detected. Are they comparable between the deep learning models and whatever you have done? So how do you compare both the accuracy levels?
So accuracy, the comparison is not provided here, but ours is giving 98 to 99 percentage accuracy. So the comparison with the other methodology is not provided actually in the table, but we were able to observe that it is comparable with deep learning based methods.
Anyway, I'll leave it to Rajesh for asking further questions.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I like the approach with extracting features in contrast to deep learning.